I like his voice. So yeah, we had one of George Harrison's songs as our first dance at our wedding, and Alson's dad's band played it, and they didn't quite massacre it. They did their best, but I'm not very good at dancing, so I'm not sure what was. The dancing was probably quite embarrassing. There's a video somewhere.
What I find with Lennon...
Does anybody watch their wedding video?
Yeah, probably not. No, I find about Lennon and McCartney, in a way, they're just perfectly equal. Like for me, I mean, people that have a favourite. I probably slightly favour John Lennon. But
right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think even in the Beatles, obviously Lennon's solo stuff's much better.
Yeah, so
even in the Beatles, I think Lennon was the more of a genius. I mean, you still got to say that McCartney was a genius as well. I think, but in a very different type.
Yeah, well, it's that sort of fusion, isn't it? It's that strange chemistry.
And I think songwriting individually is a great expression of yourself, but songwriting in a pair, in a partnership, is takes it to a different level. I mean, Lennon and McCartney were greater than the sum of their parts, and I always felt that way songwriting with other people as well. That it was much better than anything I could do on my own.
Do you like the sort of songwriting, sort of nose to nose of this, or eyeball to eyeball? Have you written songs with people in the same room?
Yeah, definitely done that. I mean, writing with Mo, we did, like Abomination, for example. He basically came to me with this verse and this like guitar chords in the verse, and then it had amazing lyrics, like really politically charged, angry lyrics. And then the last line of the verse was turning this planet to a dark abomination. And then I just started singing, "Oh, abomination." And my one-word contribution to the song was like, I don't know, that
got you a 50-50 credit.
That's right, exactly.
Well, we'll talk about that briefly at the end, because I think that's going to be the song we're going to do at the end. Perhaps.
Or I might just improvise one.
Okay. More recent bands
that I'm into, I mean, there's some good musicians around now. I really don't rate most of what's been out in the last decade and a half, apart from Amy Winehouse, really.
Jack White.
And Jack White.
Yeah.
But now there's some cool music around now. I'm really into Lady Lamb, the beekeeper, who's kind of an underground musician, and Joanna Newsom as well, who plays the harp and sings some incredible 10-minute epic songs about monkeys and bears. So that's it, and then old music, Oh, and obviously the open mic crowd, I think, is perhaps as important and relevant, if not more, than the things you hear on the radio. I mean, listening to Chisara Agor and then jamming with her as well has been incredible. She's like a songwriting genius. She's only 20 years old.
She needs to be interviewed, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what's missing. I think that's what's missing from my life. So anytime you want to, let me know. You've been promising the last couple of weeks.
I've got an American friend called T.C. McManus who plays the accordion, but in a punk style, and screams incredible lyrics. He's one of my favourite musicians in the world.
Okay. Oh, what's that all about?
Anthony's
recordings.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you.
What recordings are they?
Well, these recordings, I mean, are you keen to learn more about musicians, or are you keen to learn more about yourself?
I just have
these recordings, or
I have a really irritating curiosity inherited from my mother, and I thought I'd just put it to good use. No, I just thought it'd be a nice way to promote people. I think people like, particularly performers, they like being asked questions, and I don't know really. I don't know how it came to me, but I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a fun idea. And very amusing to participate. So.
And they've all been different. That's what's quite interesting. Because I've done 5. David and Hugh I know quite well, so that was more of a kind of, we knew a lot about stuff. Porrig's one was, I guess, more serious, sort of songwriting based.
I enjoyed that.
Richard's was me asking a question and then sitting back for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I like the bit where he said musicians are losers and it's very difficult to work with them.
He said
they
that.
Couldn't organise a piss-up in a brewery or something.
Although actually they could. No, he said, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
And then Kester's one was a bit more technical, and then I'm probably going to try and do 10, so 5 more. This
10
one
per season?
Nah, just 10 probably, and then leave it. So this one and 4 more. And
Well, I'm
You know,
honoured
I've got
to
a
be
few
number
people
6.
lined up. Cesaro. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna do 10 and then probably give it a rest. That's been fun. They've all been different. So
I think it's nice to finish things. You know, it's nice to leave a band. It's nice to leave a relationship. It's nice to quit a job. There's a great feeling of drawing a line under something and then moving on with your life, I think.
that's always how I felt about washing up. Actually, I don't like doing housework.
Yeah.
But the one thing I like is washing up because
Yeah,
you
I'm
get
the
this
same.
wonderful sense of completion.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
When there's no dishes left, like you literally can't do any more dishes.
Yeah.
Whereas
When
if
there's
you're-
no relationship left.
Yeah, but people always complain, don't they? Oh, why did we break up? Or oh, why did the band break up? Or why, why are you quitting your job? But everything has to end at some point, and I think it's nice to end when you're on a high.
We'll just go back to songwriting for a bit, and then I want
Thanks.
to talk about. No problem.
Well, it's my favourite topic. We have one song called "Watch Out Your Weight." Would you like to hear the story of that?
Watch out what?
Watch out your weight. A student of mine in a telephone class had said, I think you should watch out your weight. Talking about you should try to watch your weight.
Because people always say, non-native speakers always say your weight instead of weight. Right, I get it.
Well, he also said watch out, instead of watch your weight, it was watch out your weight. So I thought, okay, that's a nice idea for a song. Watch out your weight, watch out your weight, watch out your weight. Kind of like a very silly, silly is the best adjective for it. So that's it, it's a very silly song, but we played it as the finale to the final gig, and the audience was jumping up and down. I don't know if they were just keen to go to the toilet or...
How many songs have you written? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I think probably about 1,001, I'd say. I remember Porrick said he'd written about 1,000, so
he reckons he's written thousands.
Oh, thousands, plural, okay. I'd say millions then, probably. No, I'm not sure, actually. I haven't kept... I did try at one point, but I haven't kept...
About like 50 or something?
No, I mean, hundreds of shitty ones. And maybe 50 incredible songs.
I think if you've got like 15, 20 that you're happy performing, that's pretty good. That's 2 albums if you ever start.
That's true, yeah.
Start making albums. Then
I
you
don't
can
know
get
if I
to the
will, though.
difficult
I mean,
third album.
recording is so boring. I can't do anything related to music if it's not fun, and that means rehearsing, teaching people songs, cooperating and compromising with lyrics and stuff, and then recording is the worst. It's so boring. And sound checks as well. It's so boring.
I mean, when are you going to get perfect sound?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I know what you mean. Alright, let's just talk about performing, shall we? Because I kind of have a psychology background, and I'm interested in sort of deep philosophical stuff. So,
Well, I'm interested in learning from people with a psychology background.
Right, okay. Well, you're not going to ask me anything.
Well, I was planning on it.
Go on then, ask me one.
I've written here, ask Antony a question, but I haven't come up with a question. But I'd like to ask you, as a musician, what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Tricky. Well, I would say I had a brilliant apprenticeship, but I grew up in the 80s on 80s chart music, Radio 1 and all that, but I got over that in the end. It took a lot of therapy, but I got over Duran Duran in the end.
Oh.
But no, it was strange because in the late 80s I discovered the 60s and I basically never looked back. I think my strengths, I've got fairly good taste. I'm not a virtuoso but I think even if I was a virtuoso, I would try not to indulge it too much. And what I've learned from the Beatles, the Stones, Simon and Garfunkel, the Who, none of them were really virtuosos, but they were all played songs tastefully, and they didn't play when they didn't need to play, and it was all that kind of thing. So I suppose that'd be my strength. And I have a very retentive memory for music and everything, basically.
Lyrics.
Yeah, and that's why when we do these interviews, one of the things that's been enjoyable is that all the little bits of knowledge I've accumulated over the years, they're coming out now, because I find that when the interviewee starts talking about something, I can generally chime in with something, vaguely worth saying. Do you like 60s music?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? I think it's probably the best decade if we're being completely serious. I mean, I love Simon and Garfunkel and Mamas and the Papas and all that stuff. Anything with great harmonies really is...
I think harmonies is one of the things I like more than anything. I mean, it's just so wonderful.